back, but Mr. Reverend Porkchop, you are a con man. Even God and his prophets, according to your own book, could not have given these devils a better name than serpent, according to the characteristics of their ethnic background. The serpent of Genesis 3:1 was none other than the devil, which is none other than the Caucasian race. We've had plenty of peace on this earth. We didn't do what they do. They kill everybody that they see, trying to take everything that they have in every country. They're trying to tell people in other countries that they can't have a nuclear weapon, but they can. Mr. Reverend Porkchop, I'm just saying. And as we go back to Genesis 3:1, it says he deceived Adam and his wife, causing them to disobey their God, Jehovah, which was the plan of the serpent, the devil, according to the history of the devils. Their greatest desire is to make the righteous disobey. To disobey and make them sin. They are referred to by this name, the serpent, in the Quran as well. To a tree that grows in the bottom of hell, it produces as its heads of serpents, which disbelievers, those who don't believe within themselves, those who don't believe within themselves, shall eat of this tree, and you shall surely die. Which tree is that the serpent has caused? Which tree is that the serpent has caused the people to fall, Mr. Reverend Porkchop? It is the way that they've taught them, correct? Who sleeps with animals? Mr. Reverend Porkchop, who sleeps with animals, man? Who prey upon kids and rape them, sex trafficking and all that shit? Who started that, Mr. Reverend Porkchop? Even if you go back to our history, we didn't do that. Our real history, we didn't do that. We may have had servitude, but we didn't have chattel slavery. We weren't raping people. We were not castrating people. We were not lynching people from trees. We weren't shooting people or riddling them with bullets. Mr. Reverend Porkchop, I'm just saying. So what nature is that? What nature is that? And who displays that type of nature, Mr. Reverend Porkchop? Who does that? Not only to you and me, but for all of those who look like you upon all of the whole face of the earth. Who does that, Mr. Porkchop? Even in Genesis chapter 2, verse 17, and it speaks of the tree of knowledge and good and evil, of good and evil. And he did say that you will become like God. You did become like God. He didn't lie about that. But he also did what? He tricked you into believing that his way was right. Just like he tricked us to believe that we would get 40 acres in a mule. Just like he tricked us that we would receive gold when we came over here. Now, sadly but foolishly, there were a lot of those, and this is history I'm talking about, who didn't know about the Americas. Even Mansa Musa took a whole lot of people. And if you're not familiar with what Mansa Musa is, you all need to, do some homework. But even him, he took his whole squad over and brought them over this way. Okay, to see what it was like over here. Because some of us was already over here. And some of us was not. But making a long story short, by us not being known, by some of us not knowing what it was like over here. When it did occur, those race of devils did promise us more than what we had in our own land. We were so foolish enough to believe that, but we didn't know. And we trusted them for their word. And you see what happens? Do you see what happens? And once again, I must specify that I'm not talking about little white people that's in the same boat that I'm in. Because he's killing them too. He's killing them too. In fact, let me make it more clear to you, Mr. Pork Chop. What type of individual do you know that would rule a country and his mother, his very own mother, had to fight for some type of equal human rights? But that's his mama. What type of person does that, Reverend? I'm just saying. What type of people or person enslaves a whole nation of a people? Mr. Pork Chop, the very same people that they teach you to do what? Turn the other cheek? Pray for those who hate you and despise you and persecute you and use you? Really, Mr. Reverend Pork Chop? Don't you see how they put that in there for you? Don't you see why they remove the eye for the eye and say this is a New Testament versus the Old Testament? And we both know that the root word in testament is test. So you got an Old Test and you got a New Test. And if I give you the New Test, that means that you're here today. You know what I'm saying? They have instilled. With the Old Test, well, a lot of people wouldn't even be. You know what I'm saying? They have instilled fear in black men, black women across the globe. Across the globe. And upon eating that fruit, meaning that way of life, has caused us to fall off our square completely and live like savages. And then we're educated by the savage to be a civilized savage. You're still a savage. We know that there was never a time when an actual serpent or snake could talk and deceive people. We know that. So come on, Mr. Reverend. That dragon, that devil, and Satan which deceived the whole world, the one that deceived, that was seen in the Garden of Eden, who stood before the woman in Revelation chapter 12, verse 4, who stood before the woman who was ready to deliver the baby. That beast, that dragon, was ready to devour her child as soon as it is born. And if you had been paying attention to a prior video that I did, I had mentioned to you that one of the main goals of the right-wing caucus man is to kill the black child at birth. And he does that through his mama with the Willie Lynch syndrome. I even told you that when he's born, that he's born in an abnormal environment. He's miseducated, not only by his mother, but by his teachers at school. I'm just saying. That is just outrageous. You think about that, Mr. Preacher Man, Mr. Pork Chop Man. It's sad. But you still want to teach them about the Jesus Christ and how Jesus is coming back from there. Okay? Why didn't Jehovah just kill the devil, Mr. Preacher Pork Chop?